Welcome to the next tutorial in our mission series. The next thing I want to work on is down in our user interface and inside our HUD_player. So here's the dilemma. We want to notify the player when they're going to get a mission or when they're going to have a mission completed. We need to pop that up on screen. We don't just want to fill a text box. We want to have a smooth animation. So here's how we're going to do that. To begin with, we're going to get ourselves a rich text block, and we're going to drag that in, and then we'll anchor it to the center, and we will zero it out, get that pivot in the middle by going 0.5 and 0.5, and then let's bring this up on the y-axis to about -220. We'll have a play with that later. It's not going to matter at the moment. The text style we want is going to be D_standard text style, which means that if we change the font, it's not going to be an issue in the future as long as we change it here. And also our justification will be the center. Then let's go and name this. This is going to be RTB_notification. I say notification because we're also going to use this elsewhere. So now over in Graph, we're going to right click and create a custom event. That event is going to be called play notify anim, and we're going to give that event an input. That input is going to be a string, and that string is going to be text to notify. Text to notify is going to be what we set the rich text block as. Let's get that rich text block, compile, and drag in RTB_notification. We're going to set text. Now I haven't made a mistake here. There is a reason that I want this to be a string instead of text. We're going to do the conversion there. And then there's one more thing we're going to need here, which is the actual animation. So another thing I would like to add to this is going to be a wrap with border. I want to put a border on top of that. And then the border, I'm going to size to content. So it's going to be as big as the notification is. As for the brush color, we want to go 000 and 0.25 or 0.5, depending on how you're feeling. So I'm going to zoom in here because we've got no text here. We don't need text at the moment. What we want is to get this fading in and out. Click over here on animations down in the bottom left. And we're going to call this anim_notify. Now click on the timeline category. So now that we've got an animation selected, you'll notice over here that we have these little icons that have appeared. These add keyframes. So an animation is essentially a collection of keyframes, and each of those keyframes is a coordinate. So our walking animation is a set of keyframes, and it's going to be the same thing here. So what we want to adjust is our color, content, and opacity to begin with. So let's start at 0, type in 0 there, and then we also want at 0 our border. Type in 0 there. So this is essentially invisible. And then we're going to add a keyframe on both, like so, by clicking the keyframe. So we're going to take a snapshot of the way this is right now. Now let's drag over the timeline to 0.25. Go back over to color, content, and opacity, hit 1, and then down to brush color, 0.25. And then let's add a keyframe for them, making sure that we're selecting the alpha. Then we're going to drag this over all the way to 0.75. We need to add another keyframe with the exact same coordinates because we want it to stay the same. So then we drag over to 5, and we're going to zero out color content again on the alpha, and we're going to zero out the brush color for the border. So now when we hit play on this, I'll zoom in nice and tight so we can see this. So now when we play this animation, this is going to fade in and out. So I'll just drag this as an example. Fade in, give us our text, and then fade out. And the animation is going to last 5 seconds. We're going to compile and save there. There are other settings you can play with and other ways you can add those keyframes. You can see if I drag this over here, you can see the keyframe fading in and fading out from these coordinates here. But if we hit the play button, there it is fading in. And there it is fading out. So that's the effect we want. And whatever we put in here is going to be faded in and faded out, just like that. Let's go back over to the graph. And now we're going to get that animation. It's appeared here in variables. We're going to drag in anim notify, get it. And then we're going to type in play. And we're going to select play animation. And then we're going to plug that in at the end of set text. Whatever text we punch into this event now will play on this animation. So let's compile and save that. Back over to the top. Let's go over to NPCs and let's go into NPC underscore mission giver. So our mission notify here is what's going to play this animation. For that, we're going to need a hero reference and we're going to need a HUD reference inside that hero to talk directly to the HUD. Now let's drag out of that and type in notify and you should see play notify anim like that. So there's our custom event all the way in the HUD. Let's compile and save that. Now the reason I wanted to make this a string is so we can append it. Let's drag out of there and type in append. And this append is going to be a little bit complicated compared to our previous appends. We're going to add a few more pins. Not sure how many we're going to need right this very second. And the first one is going to say mission with a space. The second one, we're going to drag out of that and type in select because that will be one of two options. The first option will be started and the second option will be completed. So you can already see what's happening here. We're going to grab our reference hero missions get and break S mission, copy that, paste that down there. We'll worry about the index in just a moment. But this is going to be dictated based on whether or not the mission is completed. So if the mission isn't completed, then we're going to say mission started. And if it is completed, then we're going to say it's completed. And we can hide turning because we don't need that at the moment. But what we do need is the name of the mission because that's coming up next. So once we've done that, hold shift and press enter, and that's going to put the next bit on the next line. We've used our standard style text and we've programmed a heading into that so that if we put the right pretense in there, then it will come up as bigger text. And that's exactly why I wanted to use the rich text block. So let's go over to user interface. Let's come down to menu underscore pause. And you can see here that this says paused, but with the title pretense. So let's grab the title there. We'll put that in D, add another pin. The name of the mission will go here. And then we just want to close that slash here like so. So another pin. So because we haven't got any missions working on this at the moment, what we're going to do is copy this event over and all of the script here. We don't need our references. We'll replace them because unlike everything else we've got in this, I want to test this almost immediately. So let's go over to our core in B underscore hero and let's paste this text down. Then for missions, we can get that reference directly here and reference HUD, we don't need that either. We can get the reference HUD from here. Ultimately, we'll be putting this next to our troubleshooting script. And our M key is already taken up. So let's go and get the J key. And that's what we'll use to fire off this event. At the moment, our missions index is 0. We're going to come back on how that's going to work. But right now, let's make sure that the UI is working. We hit play. And if I hit J, there it is. Because we haven't completed story mission 1, it's coming up as mission started and it's properly formatting the mission there. And if I press J again, it will come up again. So it's just grabbing the first mission in that list. And then in the next episode, what we're going to do is change that so that instead of this just spitting out any random number, we're going to use our missions to notify in conjunction with this. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode.